All right, there we go. So definitely like life experience. All right, there we go. Life experience, just the whole 9 yards. I personally am not a professor, historian, but definitely I have experienced a lot and been through a lot when it comes to relationships and money. Um, Give me a second. Today we're gonna be talking about. Give me a second. A few things. The main topic is: can promiscuous women still be adventurous while being faithful? The reason why that's very important is because a lot of people go through these relationships, or a lot of people go through a certain lifestyle because probably a bad breakup, a way they were living, a certain way to cope, um, just the whole 9 yards. Me, I have been through those type of relationships. I have, you know, dealt with those type of people. Um, I will say it is a great experience to see if, and when I say a great experience, see if these are the type of women that you like. Some people don't like good women, like good girls and stuff like that. They like, girls that like they can have fun with. Or some people just don't like relationships. They might be a good person but a bad boyfriend or a bad girlfriend, or just a bad companion, so I I can say I have been in those type of relationships, so I have been that person and I have dated those type of women. You know, the worst I have ever dated was somebody actually just like me. So also we have got the new camera, so I wanted to try camera. I got the new camera, so the old camera was 1080. This one's 4K, so this one looks a little bit better. I might get 8K probably 6 to 8 months. Um, but I like the look. I like the feeling and the texture of it, and I got the new light. If you notice, the light's a little bit more brighter and it's kind of more controlling. So that's also a good thing. Um, but the way how this show is worked, we talk about that. Like I said, we'll talk about the topic questions. You'll hear me talk. I'll tell you a story about certain situations like that, and in the future, I will have people call in and they can probably tell us their experience or um, tell us their opinion. I think that would be super dope. Um, and I know this is different from the Bronze Reaper podcast, but the Bronze Reaper podcast is more current events, black excellence, topics. This one is more, like I said, life experience, sex life, different types of sex. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, you know. This is more of a like a 2 hour, 1 hour, 2 hour show. So again, and I'll also give you just tips on certain things. Like I will like sooner or later have my uncle call in here and talk about money, tell you his life experience, and tell you how he made his money. You know, going from basically altering his life from what he used to do to something new. You know, and you'll see why. Like I read a lot. I try to put things in my own theory and my own way of thinking. Me personally, I think I'm dyslexic or I don't know. I think I'm probably dyslexic and don't even know. But yeah, definitely I will give you advice on certain things. Like today, we will talk about first dates. I think first dates is very important because this is the first dates will tell you if you like or dislike a person and how far you want to go with this person. Sometimes you do have to see people for, and this is why we will talk about this topic question. Um, this is the reason why you have to see people for who they are. You know, if it's a girl who's very promiscuous, who got around and stuff like that, and she wants to make a new run, best believe certain things that she was doing with other men that she might not do with you. I'm just being personally honest. This is what comes with, you know, women who are trying to take a new leave in life. You know, it's just it is what it is. Some girls who were promiscuous will want to wait now. You know, and you'll look at it like, oh damn, she let this guy, slide through, but she's not letting me slide through. What is there something wrong with me? Or a girl who liked to have sex a lot and she wants to cut down. Yeah, this is what the type of stuff you're gonna get. And then you get those other girls who are just delusional, thinking that like, yo, you know what? This nigga got to buy me a bricket purse, a fucking car, all this other stuff. Nah. Some men are like, yo, I'm not doing that. Some people were smashing, taking you to, the mom and pop's pizza shop and getting you a pizza with some fries. You think I'm gonna take you out, father? It's just certain situations like that. Like I said, I have been on a date where it's a girl from hell. You know, so it's a weird situation. Me per se, I always said that even dating promiscuous girls and like being in relationships with them is very different. You know, so and at the end of the day, you can blame yourself as well because I'm gonna say this. Sometimes you might like a girl a lot where she is promiscuous, but she still has that promiscuous side to her where she likes to be adventurous. You know, give me a second, everyone. Okay. Yeah, it's just like you might have those type of girls that still want to be promiscuous, but want to be in a relationship at the same time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and the reason why it just doesn't work is because um I'm gonna say this, some people are just not adults enough to be like, okay, yo, this girl's trying to change. I want to treat her different. You know, he's like, yo, I still want to get head on a fucking 21-story fucking hotel or something building while people watch. Like there's people like that, man, and I will always say and I will always tell people sometimes you're just not gonna get that anymore. You know, it's just certain. It's like I'm gonna say this: the way how it is to being getting married and the sex just stops. Then it's like that. Then in it's like that when you date a promiscuous girl who wants to who wants the normal life now, who wants to stop doing everything that she was doing. You know, and I'm gonna say this: not everybody has that. Some people don't have that second chance of doing it. You know, I'm just being personally honest. Not that many people have that type of second chance of doing stuff like that. So yeah, um, and I'm just talking right now, just before we really, really get into the show and stuff, and talk about promiscuous and what red flags and like what to look out for and stuff like that. Definitely. And I will tell you, and at the end, I will tell you if it's a good or bad thing to do it. like it's like I said, it's a weird situation where it's like a dating a adult star. It's always like dating an adult star or even a retired adult star. We looked at some of these basketball players. Like there's one basketball player who found out like 3 years down the road that his wife that he had two kids by was an adult star after just leaving a relationship with a girl that he had to kick out her house, who damn near destroyed his career. So it's like I said, it's a very weird and even could be dangerous at sometimes. You know, I always have said that it's always a dangerous situation. Um, I'm gonna say one more thing and we can start. Um, I will tell you the good thing about it. The good thing about those type of relationships is that person that wasn't really serious about most people that she was messing with, now she's serious about you. And at times she'll do anything for you. Um, and like I said, it depends on the situation, you know. But let's start. Let's start. The first subtopic I'm gonna talk about is first dates, man. I think certain things that we have to work on when we do certain dates is first you gotta figure out the weather, time, and place. The reason why you gotta figure those out, and you could say somewhat mobile. And the reason why is some women don't want you picking them up at your house. Me per se, I love coffee dates, but now you have these relationships. Now you have these days where these girls don't like coffee dates. They want the best things. They want the best restaurants. These 5-star restaurants, and sometimes you have to look at it as like, okay, yo, you know what? If she wants these 5-star restaurants, this is what I'm gonna have to be looking at down the road. What happens if I lose money? Is she gonna still be there? Do I even want to be with this girl? So those are the things that you do have to look for. Like I said, I love coffee date. It's not really expensive. You get to know the person. See if you really want to be with that person and stuff like that. And these are just morning dates. Or take her to a mom and pop's breakfast spot. You know, I think those is dope. The mom and pops restaurants. I have always thought those were dope. You know, and I will say the weather wise, I think springtime and fall are always the best. And the reason why it's the best is because you can have certain different colors on. Springtime, you don't have to really be all flashy and stuff like that. You can be like, you could dress down casually, if I'm saying it right. When I say dress down casually, I mean you don't really have to dress casual. You can probably just throw on some slacks and probably a nice dress shirt. You know, um, some like I wouldn't say sporty shoes like Jordans, but like probably like some Coach, Sperry's, Gucci, those type of shoes. No flashy joints where you have to wear what you call those joints where you have to wear with like mm, where you have to wear with like where you have like you're going to the strip club or some shit like that. You know, you don't have to wear those type of shoes. Like You don't gotta be wearing the bright and out there Louis and Gucci's. You can wear like the casual Gucci sneakers. You know, and you could wear some pants with a dress shirt or dress shirt with a nice belt. Put the joints in your pants and stuff like that. Or if it's summertime, you could wear like some cargos with a dress shirt, cool sunglasses, some sneakers to match. Not no, you can probably get away with Jordans. I wouldn't advise you to wear Jordans, but you can probably get away with them. That's just me, my per se. Um, and I love Jordans. It's just I per se wouldn't tell people to wear Jordans to a breakfast date. Um, Lunch, I think lunches is cool because you could sleep in a little bit. Then you can get up around 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock. You could probably have your outfit already ready by like 8, 9 o'clock. Get the cologne that you want to wear. Don't let your body wash be too strong. Some women don't like that. Definitely put lotion on. You can't go out there ashy and stuff. What happened? Homegirl want to hold your hand. So those are the things that you have to worry about. You know. Best dates for lunch. Like I said, the mom and pop stores is always the must do, and it's always great because it's great prices, but also you getting the authentic food. You're not gonna be depending where it is and where you are. Like that's why I said it's where you are is very important because um, you got to see what's around your area. I would advise you to go out the city, and the reason why I would tell you to go out the city is just so you don't bump into uninvited people. I'm just being personally honest, just so you don't bump into no uninvited people. You're spending like $70, $80. That's not bad. It's reasonable for a date. Something over 150, I think is just too much. And the reason why, and this is I'm just going on a person who's just a normal person who got that type of bracket. Person who's making like 50, 60,000 a year, you shouldn't be spending over no 150,000, $150. Like you got the money, but you shouldn't have to waste the money on a person that you don't know if you're gonna want to be with. You don't know if it's seasonal or not. So those are the things that you look at. You know, that's just lunch. I think those lunch dates is like I said, it's super dope, but they're not my favorite. My favorite is breakfast. Breakfast you shouldn't be spending. I think if you're doing breakfast and as I said, I like coffee dates. Because it's early in the morning. You can drink your coffee, have you a pastry or some eggs and grits and stuff. You're not spending no more than like $60, $70 on breakfast, depending on where you go. But like I said, you go to the mom and pops, you're good. You know. Now dinner is very different because first of all, it's nighttime. People's gonna be out. You might get traffic because it's probably rush hour, or you have to go get ready, after work and stuff. So you gotta be home at a certain time. So that's always great. But like I said, I'm not really. I really don't. I wouldn't advise anybody to do dinner dates. Those get expensive, and the reason why I say those get expensive, and I'm looking at it as the mind of a person who makes $100,000. I don't think people should be spending that much money on those type of people, because then after that, it feels like, just to me, and principle wise, it just feels like a free meal for that female, or even a guy. Depending who who you dating. Like I said, those is very important. I think first impressions are everything. and that's what people are gonna remember you of. Give me a second, everyone. Um, yeah, I was just checking something. I just seen like it was a different background. I wasn't digging it. Portrait right there. Nah, that's better. Like I said, the dinner dates is crazy. Plus, also drinks. Depending on how people are, they might take advantage of that and say, "Oh yeah, this guy's mad nice." So you know what? I'm gonna go in balls deep. That's how certain females think about that. And should should you be mad at that? No, not really, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's taking them out on a date. And like I said, the first impression is the best impression. Some women, like I said, just want a free meal. You know, it's common too, and I'm gonna say this too. It's very common. It is very common for a girl to will just go out with you just for a free date. A free meal. There's some women like me. There's some women I have never taken a date out on. Like personally, before I met my children's mother, I don't. I went on a few dates, but them shits didn't last. You know, like I just got back from Vermont. I was living with my ex shorty. She was like fucking 21 years older than me and stuff like that. Like I always tell people, I usually date older women. You know, like the cougars and stuff like that. I think the cougars. And the thing about it, and I'm gonna say this because I was so used to like women taking care of me, then like hold on a second, give me a second, everyone. Hello. All right, I'm back. So yeah, it's those type of it's those type of situations where like the way how people talk is different from my perspective on life. I always had women taking care of me, even when I wanted to get a job and wanted to be responsible. Most women told me no. You know, I went from like I said, just a motherfucker in the streets to a person that was just a paramour. Like I was a professional mistress, if you ask me. Like you how people got sugar babies and stuff like that, and cougars and cubs. I was in that type of lifestyle. Those type of lifestyles are very different. Um, I will say this about the lifestyles. Those lifestyles is very they could sometimes take those lifestyles can take it could take a lot of, on you mentally, but depending on what type of people you do have, you might not be able to see it. So I will say that. I think that's always great. You know, one thing I always say too, when it comes to those type of situations and stuff, and you're dealing with like I say, you gotta figure out what who you dating. You know, I always tell people all the time, yeah, when a female is promiscuous, yeah, you do have to think about it as like, yeah, this shit was before me. This situation was before me, But at the end of the day, some people can take it mentally. Some people can't. Like we can look at even Adam and Lena. The reason why I'm gonna use them as an example because they're both in the industry, and what makes it different because some of Adam's friends have slept with Lena. I don't think Adam has ever like let it go, and the reason why I say he didn't let it go is because what he did to one of his friends. He said it was an accident. I don't think it was an accident. I don't think it was an accident. I even think even with one of those guys, Sharp, I think, and this is just me. This is just how I'm looking at certain things. I think Lena told Adam to get rid of him, and it was because how he was speaking to her friends. One thing you That's why I always tell people you have to pay attention to the whole picture. Like, yeah, they're both adult stars. Well, I look at Adam more of a as a OnlyFans. You know, I don't look at him as really an adult star. We can say he's an adult star, but there's certain criterias that make you an adult star. Because this is what you're gonna have to ask: what brand was he signed to? What movies have he starred in? What scenes have he done? These are the things that you have to ask, and I don't know any. And a person like me have to do reaction videos for that. So, like I said, and this is no shade or trying to crap on anybody. It's just these are the questions that we are asking. What has he done? What makes him? Let's put it this way: what makes him a top tier adult star? Don't forget he already came in the industry, in the adult industry with money. Unlike other people who didn't come in here with industry. Some people started from exotic dancer, go-go dancing, bad homes. So these are the things we have to ask. These are the things that we do talk about. So like I said, I'm just using him as an example in his life. Yeah, he married her. Yeah, it's cool and stuff, but we gotta look at it like this. He is so tainted right now. I think he's mentally messed up, and the reason why I think he's mentally messed up because his wife is still out here making scenes, and he's not making scenes like that. He had to feel okay by sleeping with somebody while she watched. I see that more of a punishment than pleasure. You know, I'm just being personally honest. I see that more as pleasure. So um, like it is sad because I think they both have decent personalities. I think Lena has a little bit better personality than him just because of the industry. And like I said, I have to interact with people from the industry, you know, because I was gonna do a documentary on adult filming and adult life and stuff like that, So these are the things that like I look at, So like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing, nor I think it's a good thing. I think it's just a situation that sometimes situation leads with babies, and it's just like instead of just like yo, let's break up, you do this, you do that, you be like yo, you know what? Let's deal with this together. Fuck it. This situation happened doesn't mean that like what we should blame this on the child. There is situations when people get married and like You don't know a situation until you marry the person. Sometimes you don't know how flirtatious a person is. You don't know how angry a person is. You don't know how you don't know how angry a person is. You know, and it doesn't make them a bad person. That's just their personality. You know, and this is how we look at things. This is how we're supposed to look at things. Like, let me ask you a question. You don't think promiscuous women get um, jealous? Oh yeah, they get jealous. You know, you don't think a promiscuous girl gets mad? They do get mad. And the reason why, only thing, it doesn't make them a bad person. It just makes them humans with feelings. And this is how we see things. And we're in an era right now, and I'm gonna say this: we're in an era right now where I think most people want to marry and be with a promiscuous woman more than a person who is a good girl. You know, like, I'll say this. Cheers, everybody. I will say this. It sounds good and sweet on paper when you say, "Oh yeah, my girl haven't had a lot of partners. My girl is a good girl. My girl hasn't been in those type of situations." It's different, and I'm gonna say this: it is different when you find out your girlfriend is not a freak. When you find out your girlfriend's a pillow princess. When you find out your girlfriend is lazy when it comes to you in bed. This is what people. I'm gonna say this. This is what people don't really want to tell you about these type of relationships. This is what happened in these relationships. Most of these relationships don't end because, oh yeah, she's a whore or stuff like that. No, it ends because lack of sex. Some people are not getting them enough sex. Some people are not happy in the sex. Some people not getting their urges that they want in sex. Now we gotta go back to the promiscuous situation. And this is where we get into the conversation. Being promiscuous doesn't make you a whore. It just said you had a lot of partners. Well, I wouldn't say that, but it's saying that, like, yeah, this ain't your first rodeo. You know, sometimes it means you was with Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's what it means sometimes. But it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that, oh yeah, you're not gonna. I'm gonna tell y'all this story. I dated this girl. She was in I think she went to a Connecticut school. Well, I just got back in Boston. Like, she went with me when, like, yo, this is how, super dope she was. She was a Haitian girl. She went with me to go get my root canal. Was it a root canal? No, pull out my wisdom tooth. I'm high as a kite right now. This girl cried because I was so doped up and in pain. And when the drugs went away, I was in pain, and she just cried. It's crazy because, like I said, like, yo, these type of women have feelings. Sometimes I'm gonna say this. Sometimes these women have more feelings and more connections to you than the people that you consider good girls. I'm just being personally honest because you gotta understand. Most of these girls are so used to, like, not having feelings, where, like, a guy could probably just say any and everything to her and stuff, and she's supposed to not have no feelings and have no you know way of feeling, where she comes with a where she knows, like, oh, yo, this guy's a good guy and stuff like that, and like she just starts crying and stuff. She's very emotional around you. And, like, I always tell people all the time, that's kind of a good thing. And the reason why I feel like it's a good thing, because at the end of the day, you're not a mind reader, and it makes it a little bit easier of being happy. You know, sometimes it's just a step of being happy. It's always like that. you know. And the reason why I was telling you about her because at the end of the day, she always even we get in an argument. She's like, "You don't like me because I'm a whore." That's what she always used to say to me. I'm like, "No, that has nothing to do with it." I was like, "I'm mad at you right now because you're wrong, and you're telling me you're right, and you're about to put us in a situation." I was like, "Yo, just follow my lead." I was like, "Yo, you don't got to do anything." And I was like 150 pounds at the time. I'm 215 muscle, so it's just like I said. It's just these type of situations where you know you tell people what's right, what's right from wrong. Um, and I always tell people all the time. Even I'm gonna say this. Hold on 1 second, everyone. I gotta move this over here to the other screen. So I'm gonna say this. Even with the promiscuous women, I will always say that they will be by your side. Where like, cause I'll tell people I used to date strippers. Strippers used to never want me to work. I used to sell weed and stuff. Sell weed, rob houses and shit. Sometimes when I really needed money and stuff like that, like when I really needed something, rob a rich person's house. You know, that's when I really needed it. Cause you gotta look at it. It's like, damn, man. I was like, yo, I'm starving out here, man. I remember I robbed a drug dealer once. My man got shot. The man I was with got shot. We had to leave him at the, we had to leave him at Boston Medical drive off. So, it's just like yo, those type of parties. And the thing about it, I thought that the robbing the drug dealer is like, yo, it's that Project Pat shit. Project Pat, when I was younger, was one of my favorite rappers. Still to this day, he's one of my top 10 favorite rappers. Um, I thought that robbing, drug dealers and stuff was dope. But what I used to do, and this is me, I would advise y'all to do this. I used to rob rich kids who were drug dealers, who was giving drugs to people, selling the drugs. Even the trailer park people, I was robbing them. I was going to those areas, taking their shit and just driving right in off back to Boston. It's like, ooh, we got some good stuff. And and one of the rules was don't do the drug, don't smoke no weed while we drive back to Boston. Once we park somewhere, put a hoodie on so nobody can see us. Put the stuff in the trunk under the where you put your the extra wheel at. Yo, you're good. Sometimes you cut the wheel, you put the stuff in there. Only thing you have is money. You know. Sometimes you get a hotel. Ditch the car. These are the things. These are certain things that I always tell people like, yo, this is what we had to do. You know, and this like the girl didn't want me to work, but at the end of the day, it's just like, yo, you gotta understand where, as a man, you still want to buy your girl something nice. You want to do something nice to your girl. And I'm gonna always say this. We will talk about this probably in the next episode. Every race is different. Don't think like. Let me tell y'all something, and I'm gonna be personally honest with you. Cause you dating another race and you listening to these Myron Gaines type of people, you think you're gonna get the best from another race. You are wrong. Everybody has flaws. The difference is you have to deal with them. And like I told people, I was like, yo, flaws is different. Sometimes you mess with that right guy. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell y'all about my cousin. My cousin's locked up right now. While my uncle was getting out, my cousin was going into jail. My cousin was having a hard time with his children's mother. I heard that she was putting her hands on him. She was doing some foul shit. Like, yo, she was getting busy on him. And one day he just flipped off, and he's a hood dude. He's a project kid. And one thing he did, he shot her kids, stabbed somebody who came up there try to help, and they locked him up. He brought the kids involved. Everybody survived. But one day, let me tell y'all something. One time I was at a party with them. She was talking shit to him. You know what I said? This motherfucker gonna shoot this bitch one day. I said that. I was like, yo, this motherfucker's gonna shoot this bitch one day. I was like, yo, my cousin is a project kid. You know? And this is this thing about this hood thing. Oh, I want a hood guy, yada, yada. No, there's certain things that come with this lifestyle. Shutting up is one of them. You know, it's not really a democracy. It's really not a democracy. It's like even with rich people, it's not a democracy. The person who has more money runs the castle. If you want the throne on the left side, you better have the money. You have to have the money. This is what's different, you know, and this is why I always say the girl. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you what was so super dope about even dating strippers, and it's probably because I had a good one. We used to race back to our house, see who's gonna cook, clean, no, cook and roll the blunt. This is when I used to smoke. I used to try to race her back to the house after selling my bags of weed and stuff, and just re-ing up. Oh, let me go re up. No, woo, 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 woo. Re up. All right, let me run back home. She's getting off at like 1, 2 o'clock, and I'm just trying to beat her there. Boom, 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 boom. Yo, she probably beats me. She's already cooking. Oh, man, let me roll this blunt at least. Boom. Oh, I already got the blunt roll. Oh, come on. I got the new stuff. All right, we smoke both of them. Boom, 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 boom. After we eat, we finish eating and stuff like that. Yo, we just lay down and smoke that blunt. Pass the blunt back to back. Boom, boom, boom. Just talk about how our day is and stuff and what was the progress. You know? Before she met me, she was promiscuous. You know, she was a business type of girl. You know? It's just, like I tell people all the time, it's just what type of girl that you want. You know, that is promiscuous. If you want her to be promiscuous, this is what comes with being promiscuous. When you want to, and I'm gonna say this: if you want a promiscuous girl, you gotta catch her at the. If you want a promiscuous girl and you want her to do what you want, do the same things that she was doing, you gotta catch her at that state. And when I mean you gotta catch her at her state, and y'all gotta fall in love. Because then after that, I'm not gonna do that. I feel like I'm dehumanizing myself, or I feel like, you know what, this isn't right. That's what they're gonna say. I'm just being personally honest with you. It's a very different situation where things just doesn't turn out the way that you want it to turn out. You know, and like I said, she was a good girl and stuff like that. Business girl. Yo, let me tell you something. After we broke up, like, yo, I helped her get her first, what, 20,000. It wasn't even with stripping. I was teaching her how to do stocks and bonds because the books that my uncle used to send me. We were reading and stuff like that. Boom, 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 boom. Yo, she's buying stocks and stuff, having little companies and stuff. I helped her get that. Did I want anything back? Absolutely not. She's the one who put the blood, sweat, and tears in it. She's the one who believed in herself. You know? That I always tell people all the time, that's the difference between promiscuous women, like, who are in the sex world, and women who are just like, you know, who go to college and stuff like that. These girls who are promiscuous, these girls who are in the sex world, they're used to making money. They know how to make money. It's just now is can you deal with the lifestyle or can you deal with her past if she's out of it? Because once some of these girls make that money, they out that shit. Most people don't even want to do that shit. Like, yeah, it's cool in the beginning, but at the end of the day, he's like, damn, I feel like, I'm just violating myself. Like, that's how you have to look at certain things. Like, are they still adventurous? Who knows? Some of that adventurous is trauma. There's girls that like, yo, I don't want to give head because they had trauma. Some dude probably violated, nigga. You ain't getting off this motherfucking car. You gonna suck this dick. You be like, oh shit, that's what he did to you. Then you be like, damn, I can't even get my wee wee licked or nothing. Damn, that's all she's doing. Oh man, what the fuck? What did I get myself into? You know. Then you don't want to leave her because she's a great person. You know. I'm just being personally honest, man. It's just like these are the type of situations that we have to listen to. Let me tell you something. This is why I was telling you about the first dates before we even talked about this. This is why I always tell people I do coffee dates. I love coffee, but I only drink black. It's in the morning. I drink black coffee. Probably have a pastry. Um, and it depends too. If you're like some of my family members, we work out at 5 o'clock in the morning. Me, I'm a person that work out probably like 8 o'clock, 8 to like 9:30. Boom, boom, boom. Just doing weights. Then after that, jump on the podcast or don't drop my kid off. Boom, work. Work on the podcast. Boom, 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 boom. Come back, go pick up my kids, and after that, do what else would I have to do. Then if it's Tuesday, I have to run to. I gotta go do wrestling training and stuff. It's just like this is the stuff that we have to do. You have to program yourself. You gotta figure out what you want. And I'm always tell people sometimes like sometimes you have to not sacrifice, but sometimes you have to just make a deal and say like, okay, you know what, I can live without this. I can live without that. Everything isn't gonna be perfect. This is one thing about. Let me tell you something, and I hope this stays with you. What these podcasters be talking about, like the Myron Gaines, the Andrew Tates, and all these other people and stuff, the Andrew Wilsons, they don't tell you that like, you're not gonna get everything you want. There's something that's gonna be missing, but at the end of the day, you have to live without it. If you want to be happy and just like just be happy for what you have, yeah, just do that. You're not gonna get everything. There's no such thing as a perfect woman. It's just perfect to you. Just your situation is very, very perfect. Just like a woman. A woman is. Let me tell you something. You think these women be looking at these fat motherfuckers talking about, oh, this is the perfect guy ever? No, she wants a fucking motherfucker who's like 6'4", 215 of muscle. I mean, 260 of muscle. With a big wee-wee. Big joint like this. Just stroking her every day, lifting her up. Talk about, baby, you ain't gotta work. I'm just being personally honest. But if you're like 215, you work out like 5 times a day, you big enough, you ain't really 6 feet, you like 6'1", maybe 6'2", maybe even 5'8", stocky. She's happy. You dicking her down like probably 3 to 4 times a week, maybe. And this is just like, coming from a person who came from my lifestyle. 3, 4 times a week is not bad, 3, 4 times a week, yeah. What was that? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. The fuck? You skipped a day. You skip a few days, So this is why I always tell people all the time. I was like, it's some stuff like this is why like when what's his name Myron Gaines said the thing about oh yeah you get you an Asian girl, oh yeah Ling Ling called her Ling Ling and everything, talk about yeah you get tapped in with the Asian community. No, them assholes is gonna talk about you. The fuck she do with a black man, a nigger? I'm just being personally honest, and it's this is not every race. This is not every like Asian race. It's just I have dated Asian women before. You know, I have dated the Chinese, and I say, yo, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm not dating another Chinese girl ever. I dated a Filipino. It's not too bad. You know, children's mother's Cambodian. It's not too bad. You know, but one thing you need to know that you will be insulted. You will be disrespected, cause that's their culture. Like Myron doesn't tell you that because he don't get bitches. That's Myron, no bitches. This, and I'm just being personally honest. This is why I was like, yo, why is he talking about women? This is like I always tell people all the time that confuses me when he talks about women. I'm like, why is he talking about even what's his name? Antron Daniels. Like, yo, you've been with your wife for like 25 years. The game has changed. Let me ask you a question. You think, and I'm gonna say this, Bill Russell, you see on my wall, Bill Russell is my favorite basketball player of all time. This man cannot go to these people now. God rest his soul if he was still alive. He cannot go to these people and say like, "Yo, this is what to do. This is what to do." He could tell you some tips of getting rebounds, but this is not a rebounding game. This is a game of scoring. Bill Russell could have scored whenever he wanted to, but he didn't want to. But he could. The thing about it is that he hasn't done it so much so that he can't tell people really about scoring. He only has what? A little bit under 15,000 points. I'm just being personally honest. And Bill, like I said, Bill Russell's my favorite basketball player. Bill Russell, Dirk Nowitzki. It goes Bill Russell, Dirk Nowitzki, LeBron James. Uh, there's a few of us, man. Those are my favorite basketball players. But at the end of the day, Bill Russell cannot tell you about scoring because he only scored less than 15,000 points. He could have scored more if he wanted to, but he didn't. They already had Bob Cousy. Bill Russell could tell you about being a player coach, yes. You know, but these people is just like this is a scoring game. The game has changed. Anton Daniels can't tell me shit about women. I'm just being personally honest. And the reason why I could say that is because I have been doing a podcast. I have talked to these women like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna even go farther and say this. I help women keep their relationships. I help women get married. I help women have a better life. I can say that. I have handled their problems. I have handled their husband's problems, their boyfriend, their significant other. I deserve a shot for that. You know, so this is why I always tell people all the time, man. It's very, very different when it's coming from certain people. Myron wasn't getting women and when he was at Northeastern. I was getting more women when Myron was at Northeastern. And I was getting women at Northeastern. Man, I remember there was this one time I was messing around with this white girl. I was smoking weed in her room. Man, one of her rooms, yo, about to call the police. Y'all out here smoking. You know what I did? I pulled up my pants and left. You know what I forgot? My underwears. Till this day, Wiz Mason still holds that against me. Shout out to Wiz Mason. Actually, I gotta send Wiz Mason this podcast because I know he's gonna get mad at me. Give me a second. But yeah, man, it's just like I said, man. It's always gonna be a weird situation, you know. And this is how you always have to look at things. yo, this camera looks very, very good. I only pay what, $60, $70 for this camera? Jesus Christ. You know, whoever's in this live, if you want to ask questions, just let me know. I'm gonna start doing this. Oh, jokes aside, I'm gonna be streaming from X as well. The reason why I want to stream from X because I want to talk to, like I said, I have more adult entertainers on my X that like I have to conversate with when I do the Chocolate Man podcast. So definitely, it's always a because like I always tell people, man, it's very different, and the reason why it's very different is because their lifestyle that they have that people have to adapt and accept. All jokes aside, people have to accept their lifestyle. And like I say, I understand it. I understand it. Let me tell you something. I understand an adult entertainer's lifestyle. You know, when I was young, like probably 13, 14, the first entertainer I ever seen was this lady named Heather Hunter. I don't know if she was Spanish or black, but she was beautiful. You know, and this girl named Monique. She was dark skinned, chocolate, rich chocolate. So yeah, it's those are those type of situations, like I said, with promiscuous women that you have to deal with. You gotta accept their past. But now you gotta understand: are they gonna, when you marry these type of women, when you're in a relationship with these type of women, are they gonna do the same thing that they were doing to have fun, or is it gonna be different? This is the things. These are the conversations that you're supposed to be having. You know. I hope y'all like the lighting. It's different. You know, it's a little bit brighter. If you need me to make it a little bit lower, I can do that definitely. Um, but like I was saying, it's a different situation when it comes to like promiscuous and even with people with abnormal jobs, stripping, adult entertainment, go dancing, OnlyFans. But I will say this: I would advise y'all to stay away from OnlyFans women, and the reason why, because they're out here actually stabbing and shooting people right now. Yes, they need to clean up their act and get you know get on the right page. So yeah, I will say that. But I'm gonna tell y'all a crazy story. I remember I was messing around with this Spanish girl. I think she was Dominican. And this is why I don't really mess with Dominican women, even when I was single. Um, brought her on a date. I brought her to Uno's. When I say I brought her to Uno's, like yo, I was even making money like that. I think I was making like 25,000 a year. I was a brokey, you know. Brought her out. I was like, yo, you know what? I've been trying to, talk to this. Like, I've been trying to talk to her for a little minute and stuff like that. And, like, yo, we hung out a few times and stuff like that. I was like, yo, let me take you out. You know what? I want to take you out. She was the date from hell. I'm going to be personally honest. And I'm glad I dodged the bullet. And I was like, yo, thank God, What's going on, Jeff? This is a Chocolate Man podcast. So we're talking about give me a second. Jesus Christ. Yee. I hope you like the new camera, Jeff. It looks better. Let me know if the camera looks a little bit better. Give me a second, everyone. Can Can promiscuous women still be adventurous and be while being faithful? That's the question. You know. But yeah, it was a weird situation with her because I was like, yo, I was like, yo, I really like this girl. And I don't really mess with Dominican. I mess with probably like four Dominicans out of my life, and all two of them were like the worst. And I'm gonna be personally honest, they were the worst. One girl cut up my seats, keyed my car, broke my windows, and I only brought her out on a date. She was a Dominican. Yeah, it looks cool. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that, man. I just bought the new camera. And I got the new lighting too. I hope the lighting looks a little bit better than before. So too. Yeah. But yeah, I brought this girl on a date, man. I was like, yo, and something told me like, yo, stop fucking with those Dominicans. Them Dominicans is reckless and they're savages. The women, And I always said to them in my head, I always had this type of not really a stigma against them, but they always go back to their own kind anyway. So that I look at a lot of races like that. They always go back to their own kind, or they cheat with their own kind. Like a girl might fuck with a black guy or mess around with a black guy, but they'll always go back to their own race. You know, like look at Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez was messing with a whole bunch of black guys. She went back to Spanish and white people. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, yo, why would you want to make money off of black people? And like, why would you want to, get D down by black people and you like white men? You like Spanish men. That's your preference. But the thing about black men and black women, like if we're with you because we love you. It's not oh yo different, and this is why and this is real black men, and I have to talk for real black men because we always get this stigma because oh yeah we dating this white woman so we could get ahead of life and stuff like that. Nah, it has never been like that. And the reason why it has never been like that is because most real black men don't date white women because they're white. They like them because it actually fits them. Like, let me tell you who I believe that really dates, who really married their wife, and she's a white woman. LeVar Ball. I think he really married her because he liked her. He loved her. So it just be like that. You know, but I do believe a lot. I do believe a decent amount of men date different nationalities just because they think it's better than their nationalities. Like Jeezy, I think Jeezy really thought like, yo, let me stop fucking with black women because um, these black women ain't, I can't fuck with them. I could get better. I think when you put yourself on a higher better pedestal instead of like messing with somebody who is on your level, it screws you over. You know, like look at his situation. Jeannie Mai, girl's from Vietnam. Her family's from Vietnam. Their whole family's problematic. Jeezy is a country boy. He's a country boy. He don't want 1,000 people in his house. When it comes to Asian people, they say, yeah, we're going to have something little. Yeah, there's 60, 70 people in your house. Some of them Asian people don't be like, yeah, how did they know about the party? I'm just being personally honest with you. Somebody told somebody about the party. Now you got to be like, yeah, yeah, coming to the party. Yeah, yeah. Just so you don't be a bad host. Jeezy was like, yo, everybody get the fuck out my house. Jeezy's on that type of status because he's a countryman. He don't want everybody in his house. He likes to stay low key. That's why he divorced her within 3 years. He was like, yo, I cannot do this. This is problematic and there's no way to fix this. This is why she's giving him hell. If I can't have you, nobody can have you. That's how she's feeling right now. You know? Do I understand it? Yes. Do I accept it? No. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that whole situation. You know, and I've been told people, hold on one second, somebody died. Damn. Well, shout out to Veem and these people. I think don't really like black people. Just the money. Look at Johnny Dang, foreigners. Yeah, I could see that. Like I said, you got to look at where these people come from. You know, I don't want to get too political with it, but that's true, man. It's just where you come from and money. When let me tell you something. When people come, certain cultures come to this country, they understand money. Arabs, they will marry a black man for money. Indians, they not. They're probably more racist than white people, and I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on that. I think I think Indians, people who come from India are more racist than white people. Facts. And you know who he messes it up for? The people who are like Paul Wall. Paul Wall is actually in his community, feeding his community, and he's from the trenches. You have these people who get money from the communities and move out and don't look back. It's a good thing, bad thing. I don't know. You sometimes you just have to figure it out. You know what it is, what is not. Those type of conversations is very hard to have. Indians have a whole caste system, and it was a video of an Indian guy harassing them. But let me tell you something. I'm gonna say this: how you think I knew that Indians were more racist than white people? They was the ones who probably started the caste system in America. Them and the Spaniards. Yo, it's crazy. This is why I always tell people all the time: the Spaniards don't like Latinos. That's why I always tell my director. I was like, yo, I mean my not my director, my assistant manager. Why you always say you're Hispanics? Them Spaniards don't even like y'all. I would never claim them. I was like, I could be half white. I would never claim my white side. It's like I said, it's a very sticky situation because the reason why it's a sticky situation is because you understand why these people don't like you. It's just now you have to real Spaniards hate. Yes, they'll spit on them. They'll spit on them. That's why when I asked SP, it wasn't to be disingenuous. I asked him, I was like, "Yo, won't you show your if you're Native American, why won't you show your Native side more than your Hispanic side?" It wasn't to shit on him. It's just to make him think like, "Yo, these Spaniards don't even like me. These Spaniards did so much in our country. Well, not. I'm just using it as like a third person. If I was Hispanic or Mexican, why do I claim them? Why do I even want their culture? I would have been like, yo, screw these fools. Like I always tell my cousin, my cousin's half white. I was like, yo, man, fuck your white side. Your white side don't even like you. You know, it's the same in Portugal. They hate Brazilians for real. Yeah, yo, hate is really strong out here, man. But I always tell people all the time there's a time for love and there's a time for hate. There's a time to cry and there's a time for war. I mean, there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. It has always said that in the Bible. The Bible never told people not to hate. It just told you it's a time to hate and there's a time for love and there's a time for hate. There's a time for peace and there's a time for war. You got to figure that out. Cheers, everybody. Oh, let me finish the story. So we get to the place. I brought her to Uno's because I was feeling like a little bit Italian. And this is when I was, like I said, I was only making like 25,000 a year. So I was like, damn, I was like, yo, let me get this little, the crusted pizza and stuff. And this is when, like, I was just eating cheese pizza, boom, 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 eat cheese. This girl ordered 2 meals. I was like, why you ordering 2 meals? Oh yeah, one for me and one for my mother. I like, I'm not dating your mother. I was like, you know what? Just get it. She got that, brought home the mother. And yo, she seen her friend, some other girl. She started talking to her girl, acting like I was in there. You know what I did? I jumped on the train and left her there. Like she was a hungry one. She was very hungry, hungry. She was like prostitute hungry, you know? The most I had saved up like 42,000. Fact, it's good, man. Keep it up, man. You can keep on saving more and more and more, man. But the thing about it, it's not about saving, it's what you do with it. I'm gonna say that. You could save $100,000, but you gotta do something to invest it. These jobs don't last forever. You gotta do something to invest more money. Let me tell you something, Jeff. I'm gonna give you the dopest thing that somebody ever told me. You could have all the money in the world, but you better off investing it. When you die, you die. You can't bring that shit with you. The Egyptians try to bring their money and their wealth with them, and you know what they did? These white people dug that shit up and took it. Now these people are in museums right now. I want to move to Asia. Yeah, go on. No, what part of Asia? I would tell you to move to Japan. I will tell you, yeah, move to Japan. They do got a little bit racism there, but it's not worse as South Korea and China. And I always tell people have a good time, have a whole bunch of kids. Let me tell you something. You're better off having a whole bunch of kids. And I'm gonna be personally honest, Jeff. Jeff, my kids is half Asian. My kids is Cambodian. They're the niggers of Asia. So it is what it is. They're the black people of Asia. I'm just being personally honest. It's just the way how the color structure it is in Asia is weird. I love Japan. Japan is super dope and stuff like that. I would tell you to go to Japan. China, they tell them that they promote racism in China. Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam. Well, Cambodia and Thailand is at war right now. I advise you not to go. And Cambodia, I think, is getting taken over by French. So they're at a colonial war as well. Vietnam is it's decent right now. Be careful what you eat. That's all I tell you. You might eat some meow meow in Vietnam, so. But it's a nice place. They got decent women and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely go. Yeah, go. I would advise you to go. I would tell you to go to Vietnam. Japan don't speak English like that. I will tell you to do. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you something super dope. They're big on wrestling there. They're big on like wrestling strong style. A lot of those people speak English and try to have a tourist with you. But they're more nicer than China. I will tell you that. I would advise you to go to China. I would advise you to go to Japan. But it's at your own risk. Just look at how China treats Africans. Even though Africans bring their tribalistic ideology with them, and they kind of mess it up for us because at the end of the day, those Chinese and them Japanese, them South Koreans, they think that them Africans are us. So they already messed it up for us. So just remember that. You know, so yeah, I left the girl at the train station and went home. You know, and she called me probably like was it 45, well, 30 minutes while I was almost home. She's like, "Why did you leave me?" I was like, "Yo, you really didn't want to be there, so like I wasn't going to keep on holding on to this date." You know, so like, yo, let's let bygones be bygones. And she kept on calling me, talking about, "Oh, yo, 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 let's try to make this work. Try to make this work." Let y'all know that she had her boyfriend in the background. She had a boyfriend already, and her boyfriend's like, "Yeah, she's pregnant with my baby." I was like, "Nigga," I was like, "Don't ever call me again. And if you see me in the street, you do not know me. You do not know me." I watch vlogs. Some black guys say it's hard in Japan for dating if you don't speak. I think that might be true. But you got Google Translator, so you're good. As long me tell you something. I dated a girl, and this is why I said four girls that I dated that was Dominican. Two were good. One girl that I dated, she didn't speak a lick of English. You know what saved me? Google Translator. She was super thick too. That's the crazy part. Hopefully, I don't think she had a BB. And I'm gonna say this: most of these Dominicans and these Puerto Ricans and all these Spanish women, they be having BBLs and tit booby implants and shit. Like, I don't like that shit. I'm gonna be personally honest. I'm not a big fan of it. You know, I think that's what really made me settle down. That type of shit. You know, like everybody has some like BBL or some like titty job or some stuff. You know, like I said, I would advise people not to do it. I would advise people like, yo, find somebody that's your joint. Um, I don't like perfect tits. I don't like a perfect ass. It just never been me. I don't like one ass bigger than the other or anything. I just it don't have to be perfectly big. It just has to be you. That's the difference about I always tell people that this is what when it comes to me, this is how I like women. Like most of my women have been weird, so they have been weird, or they have been older, or they have been. It's just the whole 9 yards with that. I'm cool. I'm cool off Latinas. I'm not into them like that. And most races, yeah, they always go back to their own people. I will tell you that. The women always go back to their own people. They'll dump the black man, maybe their white man, to go back to their own to their own kind. A lot of races is like that. I'm gonna be personally honest. That's why I said the promiscuous thing. It takes a toll because if you already was out here in these streets and stuff like that, and I don't want to say a man saved you, but a man fell in love with you and wanted to protect you and wanted you all to himself, like I'm gonna say this. I don't like to say, oh yeah, this guy saved this girl and stuff. He's a super saver hoe and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, we gotta define what that is. Yeah, a girl can be promiscuous, but at the end of the day, she gave up the streets, man, and she's in love with somebody, man. Hopefully, this man can keep her from out there. You know, look at Kobe's wife. She got his millions and gives it to the Latino community. I'm not supporting Latino. Yeah, facts. But let me tell you where like Kobe got that from. Don't forget his father played overseas, so Kobe knew how to speak like three or four different languages. So he liked what he liked. That girl that he had, man, she wasn't worth a pot to piston before he met her. He was already a millionaire when he met her. He was 21 and she was 17. The difference is that like he lost his culture with his like look at his children. And I'm not trying to shit on his children, but his children lost. Even Kobe. Kobe lost his culture. I support his father and his mother more than I support Kobe. I personally, and I'm not trying to, like I said, I feel bad for Kobe. I'm always been, I've never really been a Kobe fan, but I always supported Kobe. I was happy when he won championships. But Kobe was a piece of shit. Kobe always been a piece of shit. There haven't been a lot of people that liked him. The reason why Shaquille O'Neal left because was Kobe. Kobe had a standard over. Kobe had a standard for a person that was already a veteran. The person that he was getting more. Shaquille O'Neal was getting more points than Kobe. Why the hell Kobe had that type of power to get Kobe out? I mean Shaquille O'Neal out of there. Kobe should have retired. Shaquille O'Neal should have retired a Laker. He should have retired a Laker. He should have helped people move into that spot. That was Kobe's wrongdoing. And nobody never talks about it because everybody loves Kobe. But at the end of the day, we got to be honest about Kobe. Kobe was a piece of shit when it comes to people. Basketball, he has one of the best IQ, one of the best intelligence when it comes to basketball. But as a person, he wasn't the greatest person. Michael Jordan is the same. He's not one of the greatest people to be. No. Michael Jordan was a piece of shit to people. My father's last name is Jordan. The fuck? I'm just being personally honest. These people was a piece of shit towards people. But this is why I said I love Jordans. I got like a whole bunch of Jordans on my fucking nigga. I got Jordans all over my wall right now. But I'm not gonna act like, I'm not gonna act like Jordan was like the fucking messiah. And this is where we have to come through with these situations where we know right from wrong. You can love somebody, but at the end of the day, are they on the same time as you? Are they on the same frequency as you? You can love somebody, but they might not be on the same frequency as you. Probably might not be ready. Then when they get ready, you're already out the door. You're already with somebody. You're already doing what they're doing. It's true. And like I said, Jeff, I agree with you. But Kobe always has been a piece of shit to us people. People has loved Kobe because of basketball, but as a person, look at all these weird stories that they tell about Kobe. Kobe talk about, oh yeah, I need you to be, I want to train with you, Kobe. I want that same IQ at you. People used to look up to him. There's, oh yeah, be at the court. This motherfucker wasn't at the court until the last minute. Didn't work out. He didn't teach nobody nothing. He probably let me say this. He has taught people something, but he taught people the worst. He taught people not to trust people. He taught people how to take people's kindness for weakness. What you think a black mamba was? Why you think he called him a black mamba? Think that was just a figure of speech? No. Look what he did to his parents. Look what he did to his parents. Let's be let me say this. His father taught him everything. Shout out and RIP to Jelly Bean. His father taught him everything. His father sacrificed everything for him. What did he leave his mother? He got mad at his mother for selling some of his memorabilia because they needed money. Let me tell you something. If my parents ever need money and they help me get towards my riches, that is no problem. But I'm gonna land right here because I gotta go, deal with my kids. Not deal, but take care of my kids. I'm gonna say this: having somebody who's promiscuous, it's a bad thing and it's a good thing. The bad thing about it is you don't know if they have trauma. A lot what everybody does is mostly trauma. You don't know some of these girls got violated. That's why it's so easy to sleep with somebody and they can fake it and stuff like that. And the person you might bring home that like, yo, I think she's a great person. I love her personality. She cooks, she cleans, she does this and that. But she was throwing that coochie to people. You don't know she was violated by a family member. You don't know she was like violated by somebody in the streets and like she thought that was just normal. She don't give his parents. Yeah, she's a piece of shit too. Most of those, let me tell you something. Most of those people in LA are racist. Most of them Latino, and I gotta say that. That's why you know what? That's why I started understanding why SP was calling. And you gotta let me tell y'all something. I know people think SP is racist, but SP spits gems at people about Mexicans. Why you think he was running around calling them people coconuts? He was running around there calling people coconuts. His own people. Because he knew that shit wasn't right. He knew that, like, yo, if we're going to make it in this country, we can't be burning bridges. We can't be, ostracizing people. Now they're talking about, what was it, Kobe Bryant's wife has a baby on the way. And I heard it was somebody from the Boston Celtics. So that's why I say, yo, we don't know how his wife was. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you who I think she had a baby by, and I'm going to be personally honest, Paul Gasol. That's just my theory. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's a lie, but I think she was fucking around with Paul Gasol. Ain't no way in hell that this asshole from Spain just running around here, oh yeah, that's my friend with a wife. He's fucking. He has to be fucking. You making sure the kids is all right every day? Making sure the kids is all for the past, 5-6 years? And she's Mexican? That's why I say being promiscuous is very different. Sometimes that shit does come out. It depends who you are. If you're a person that just want to change, you don't want to live that life like that, that shit is, it's not right, it's not culture. I understand and I salute you for it. But at the end of the day, there's a bad side to it and there's a good side to it. The good side about it is that you're changing, you're making a progress of life. The bad side about it is like when you go to a person that is good, like that is right and probably heard about your past, and you was like, damn, why you ain't doing this with me? You doing that with me, but you was doing that with this dusty nigga. You was doing that with this ain't shit worth a person. Doing all this, freaky stuff, and you can't do no freaky stuff to me. It's like, yo, why would I want to be with you? You give me the bare minimum. That's what they're gonna fight for. You're giving your husband, you're giving your boyfriend the bare minimum. Let's say you're not married. You think he would want to marry you if you're giving him the bare minimum and if you even said something about your sex life, all the crazy stuff that you doing, or a part, let's say you was a part of the sex world, and all the stuff that he knew that you were doing, and you ain't doing to him, only to him, yeah, this is gonna be a problem. He's gonna look at that as a problem, like, yo, what the hell's going on? What, I'm not worth to be satisfied. I'm not worth to, this is just how he thinks. He's gonna think that you really don't love him. He think you just settling with him. That's the only thing that's wrong with that situation. Again, thank y'all for watching this show. I know it's gonna have low views. It's the first show, you know. Like again, I thank you. I appreciate Jeff and the other people who was on this show. I didn't see. Let me see if I can find your names. Yeah, only Jeff popped up. All the other people, thank you. I appreciate for watching this show. I know we usually do the Bronze Reaper and we all dumb out and stuff like that. I have a great time too, but this show was to promote another show that I do want to do with money, to deal with money, to deal with relationships and all this other stuff. And I'm gonna promote that in Bronze Reaper podcast. So definitely we might have more people depending. Um, Again, thank everybody who comes on this show. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it, man. I always appreciate the support, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will see you Monday. I'm not gonna do a show tomorrow, but I'll see you Monday. Everybody, take care.